Hello friends, welcome to the Tech Granth. Today I will show you how I designed a cab booking system like Uber, Ola or Grab. Basically this is the way I will design if given the task to design a system for cab booking. So let's jump into the system design. This is a sneak peek of the system design that I have come up with, but I'll reach this step in a step-by-step manner, and I will show you the thought process that was involved, and I will guide you in a step-by-step way how you can answer this particular question in an interview. So let's go into the requirement first. So the requirement for this particular system will be the functional requirement will be you need to book a cab, you need to show the ETA and the approx price of the ride. So if the rider opens an app and he tries to book a cab, so he should be able to see how much time it will take to reach from point A to point B, and what will be the approx price or the rate that will be charged from the rider. And once he has made the booking, he has selected the uh, basically the origin and the destination, and the cab has been booked for him, so he should be able to track his ride, the location through which the driver is taking him from point A to point B. And yes, of course, you need to have some APIs to capture the detail of the rider and the driver, and you have to maintain the details of the rider and the driver. The profile will be something like the number of trip the rider has taken, his name, phone number, email address, and all those kind of stuff. And same goes for the driver. And you also need to store the rating of the rider as well as the driver. So all those things will be there, but in this particular video I will concentrate on how you will book the cab and how all these estimates are given. So the main focus will be on that, and it will be a high level design. It will not be a low level design where I will go into the codes and all. And of course, the non-functional requirement will always be high availability, your scalability, low latency, and consistency. So your system should always be available because you have rolled it out on a city and you don't want to go into loss. So always it should accept the booking, and the rider should be matched with the driver. It should be scalable because you have to roll out into multiple city. You may start from one city and then go across multiple cities, then you can go across multiple countries, and if you see Uber, it is across continents. So yes, it should be, the design should be really scalable. It should have low latency. This factor can be considered, cannot be considered, but at least the throughput should be not the throughput, basically the response time should be low, because you should not make the rider wait for a very long time to book the cab. So it should not be like rider, he has chosen the origin and the destination and he's waiting for the cab for 5, 10, 15 minutes. It should not be like that. So the latency should be low, but this will, again, this factor goes like it can go up to like 30 seconds or 40 seconds. That should be okay. And consistency, so your system should be consistent. It should not be that a rider has been matched with driver A but driver 2 has arrived, so that kind of situation should not be there. So these are the basic requirement that is there. So let us see how you can approach this system design. So what layman sees, it means that if you are given an app like an Uber, so if the app has been given to a non-technical person, so what he sees, so basically he opens the app as a rider, and he will see that there are few driver or few cabs nearby him in the application, and then he will select the drop location where he wants to go. The drop location is basically his destination, and the pickup location by default will be his own location where he is standing currently. And then he will click on the book ride, and once the book ride is clicked, then your application will do some processing in the background, and basically a trip request will be sent to the driver who is nearby, and then driver can share the, means accept the trip, or he will reject the trip. So if one of the driver has accepted the trip, then he will be matched, and his details will be sent to the rider, and Then basically driver can go to the rider's location, pick him up and then drop him to the destination. Now, from a driver's point of view, what he will do is he will be getting some request to accept, that is a trip request, and the other thing that driver will be sharing is his location. So he will be constantly sharing his location. There will be from his app some his GPS means his GPS will be enabled, and from his application he should be able to send his location constantly to our application, so that we know at any given point of time which driver is located at which particular location, so that it can be mapped to a rider. So from a very layman's point of view, you will see all these things. This is what the layman will see, but as a technical person, we should be aware that whenever we see all this kind of block diagram, it means that rider he is seeing some driver nearby. It means that rider is mapped to some API which will bring the map to his device. He is able to select a drop location. It means that there is some API which is enabling him to input the drop location, the pickup location, and there is some button which is enabling him to book the ride. So if you think in that particular way, so you can come up with something like the rider will have a list of APIs, and those APIs will be backed by some database, and those APIs will have something like you save the rider detail, you save trip of that particular rider, you get the trip of the rider, you get the price of the last few trips that the rider has made. So it means that there is some set of API and there is a database involved. Next thing is there should be one more layer of abstraction, or there should be some service which is allowing the rider to book a ride. Okay, so these things should strike your mind once you see this layman diagram. Now from the driver's point of view, even driver will have some set of API, and using that API he is able to share his location. Now here it is not marked, but even driver will have some API which will store his detail in a set of database. So there will be a database involved for driver as well as for the rider. So if we go, these are all the things that came to my mind when what I did was I just opened the app of Uber and I started seeing what all things are there. So based on that, I came up with this particular diagram, and then I applied my thought process, and the next level that I came up with is something like this. So this is one level down from the layman's perspective. So here if you see, rider has a list of APIs, which is the user API, and these APIs will be connected to some database, and there will be a booking service involved. Same thing goes for the driver. So driver will have a list of API for the driver. He will have some application or some service which is sending him a booking request, and there are set of APIs or some service using which he is able to share his location. So let us talk about the user API for a moment. So as part of the user API, what all things a rider can do. So for the first time when rider opens up the application or downloads the application, then he has to create his profile. So as part of the profile, he will be storing his name, phone number, email address, and all those stuff. Maybe a home location kind of thing or an office location, all those kind of thing he might be storing. So those things will go and sit somewhere in the database. Now he will also have a list of API, or he will have a screen where he can basically go and check what all rides he made in the past, what was the amount that was charged for him for each of those rides. So all those will be routed through some API here, and it will be fetched from his database. So this database can be a RDBMS, because all these are structured data. There will be a particular schema involved, like when you store the profile of user, so there will be a user table which will have a user ID, the name, and all other details. So if there is a transaction involved, so there will be a transaction table which will also have some key which will say, okay, this is the transaction ID, this is the user ID, this is the driver ID, these two guys were matched initially, and this is what he was charged. And you will also store the location, basically the origin and the destination, from where to where that guy went, and what was the charge for all those things. So those things will easily be handled by an RDBMS, and so you can use some database like MySQL. That should be good enough. The next thing is there will be a set of API which will be calling another service, which is this booking service. Now, what is this booking service? Basically, the booking service is some service. You can think of it for now as a black box where a request will go from the user that I want to go from point A to point B. I need a particular kind of cab. So it can be like how Uber has. You have Uber Go, Uber Prime, and Sedan or Pool. Those kind of thing can be passed to the booking service, and booking service will search for a cab, and it will return back to the user with the detail of the cab that is going to pick him up. So that will be the role of booking service. And I will go into detail how booking service is related to all these things. Let us first go to driver side. So from the driver side, again, like user, driver will also have a list of API which will be involving what all trips he made in the past, what is the amount of money he got for all the trips he made in the past, and it might also store something like ratings or the destination and the origin, what all he picked it up, or what all guy he picked it up. So all those details will be there for the driver. Next will be, there will be something, again there will be a black box like this which will give the driver a booking request. So this booking service, this will basically talk to this get booking application, and this guy will push to the driver as a push message that one request has come to pick up a rider. Are you willing to accept that or not? So if the driver accept that booking request, then this driver will be matched to the rider and his detail will be sent back to the booking service, and booking service will give back the rider that okay, this driver is coming to pick you up. If he cancels that request, then it's gone. Basically, there will be no match and some other driver will be sent the similar kind of request. So there will be something like this. And of course there has to be a location tracking service. So this is because the driver might be moving constantly even if he does not have a passenger, or there can be a case like he's about to drop someone, and that guy's place is nearby to the next rider who is trying to book a cab. So you need to track all your drivers that are there so that you know which driver to map to which rider. So there should be a location tracking service so that uh, you can always be in control or be in a known you know how, where your driver is present. So this particular service, I felt that it should send the details into multiple places. So I thought that it should send the detail into a NoSQL database so that I can store and persist this data. And this data will be huge because these guys, all the driver will be sending request very frequently. It can be like every 5 seconds he is sending the request because you want to keep tracking where the driver is very actively. So this data will be huge, and so think in a scenario where your rollout is across continents and you have like thousands or lakhs or like 100,000 of driver sending request every 5 seconds. So this data will be really huge, and that is why it's a good idea to store it into a NoSQL database. Now even in NoSQL, a good choice will be a columnar kind of database like Cassandra, so that because there you just need to keep on updating the rows for each of the location that comes. So that will be a good choice, I feel. So you should store it. Now why you should store it is because not only because you need to map these ride driver to the rider and you should know the location, but also in future you can do some query on the route that driver has taken or how the driver was going around throughout the day, so that you can detect some fraud that driver is committing, or you can basically do a lot of analysis, apply some ML and AI on top of that to understand all those things. Next thing, I thought that it should also be sending the request to a queue, so that if I'm doing a real-time tracking or real-time detection, or uh, this should be connected to some other services also. So maybe I'm sending the request to third party, and that kind of scenario. I will go into detail in the coming slides where Kafka can be used. But at this particular stage, I thought that it will be a good idea to put it in a queue kind of system, a distributed queue, so that if I have to do some real-time analysis, I can still go ahead and do it. And the third place where the location tracking or the location service should send the data should be in a distributed cache. And this distributed cache will store the data in a key value pair. And here what will be the benefit is, here you can store like at which particular location. So suppose one driver is at location A and the rider is at location B, and those two places are very nearby. So let me just put it on a map. So suppose this is a grid kind of map, and suppose the driver sent the location and he said that he is present in this particular grid, and the one rider is there who is requesting from this particular grid. So and so this particular in distributed cache, it can store like all these grids can be numbered. I will go into detail of all these grids, how it will be, how these grids are formed and how we'll get these grids later down the slide. So but the idea is, if you have a distributed cache, you can store something like, okay, this is the grid number 1 G1, and this is where G1, and this is where I have the driver D1. So I can store something like this. Or suppose there are multiple drivers in this particular grid, so I can store something like, okay, this grid has driver D1, driver D2, and so on. So if there is a rider here itself in this particular grid itself, so I will just go and check in this grid what all drivers are present. So I will know that, okay, these two drivers are present in this particular grid, and I can send the request. This booking service basically can send the request to these two drivers. So that is why we should have a distributed cache as well, because it will be fast, and IO will be very fast with distributed cache. So that is required here as per my thinking. And distributed cache like Redis and all, it can be persisted also, so it will be really nice to have something like that. And yes, if you want to learn about distributed cache, I have already made a video on how you can create your own distributed cache as well. So that is it for this particular slide. And by now you might have some idea about how the rider and driver will interact with each other, how driver is sharing his location. So the next focus point will be the booking service, how this booking service will work, and how the driver will get the booking, and how all these are linked with the location tracking service. So next detail that the next point that I will discuss in detail, or the next step that I thought of in this particular design, will be focused on the booking service. Okay, so the booking service will look something like this. So if you see this particular part, whatever I am just marking here, this particular part forms the booking service, that I showed in the previous slide. So this booking service and get booking, basically get booking is down here, but you can just mark it from here. So this is what the booking service will look like. Okay, so let me go into detail of each of the components. So the customer application, it will talk to the book app, which will be through a user API. Now the API will be connected to the application using a WebSocket. The reason why we will use a WebSocket is HTTP calls can be costly here, because there will be a two-way communication between the customer and the application, because customer will send the request will be sent back to the customer. Then some notifications also will be pushed to customer. So it's a good idea to maintain a WebSocket. Now I'm not going into detail of the WebSocket and how a distributed set of WebSocket will be managed using a WebSocket manager and all those things. I'm not going into detail of that, but there will be a component that will be involved here so that you can distribute this also. We'll discuss about it slightly in the next slide maybe, but I'll not go into detail of that. The focus will always be on the cab booking service. So you have the WebSocket connection here and the API says that you book a cab. Now this will send a request to our booking service, and in booking service the first service that will be exposed, I called it a dispatcher service. Uh, this can be any service that you design, but the functionality is going to be, it will help us to track the driver. Basically it will help you to match the driver with the customer. That will be the motive of this dispatcher service. So book cab, it will send a request with the location ID of the customer, and it will also send some other detail to the dispatcher service saying that I want to book a cab for myself, a complete cab. I want it of type a mini cab or a sedan or an SUV. That kind of detail will be sent to the dispatcher service. Now what dispatcher service will do is it will talk to a Google Map service. So Google Map service will basically, it will use S2 library of the Google, and from this S2 library it will pick up the nearby location. So what Google Map service does is, if you don't know, then I will quickly go and show you. So if you see, if suppose this is a city, so what Google Map service will do is it will break down this city into some grids, which I was showing you in the previous slide, basically, where I said in grid 1 there are multiple drivers or something like that. So it will break down the city into a square. Basically these are not square, pardon for the drawing, but I hope you got the idea. So it will be broken down into something like this. So each grid will be of some size. So this can be like a rectangle of half kilometer by half kilometer or something like that. So Google Map service, it will break down this city into all these grid. Now when the dispatcher service, it sent a request to Google Map service that okay, my guy is sitting at one particular location. So he meant that my guy is sitting at, the rider is at this grid. So let's say that this is G0. So this is where the rider is present currently. Now what you do, you give me all the grid that is surrounding this particular grid. So if this is G0, so this can be 1, this can be 2, this can be 3, 4, and so on. So this can be 5 and all these things. So what Google Map service will do is it will send back to the dispatcher. It will send back to the dispatcher service saying that okay, all these are the grid that is lying nearby to the grid which you have sent to me. So next thing that this dispatcher service will do is it will go to the distributed cache. So in distributed cache, the driver's location is always being stored. So it is stored in a, it will be stored something like I told you. So it will be like in grid 0 or grid 1, I have all these drivers. So basically I have the list of driver which is present in this grid 1. So I have D1, D2, all those things. So what dispatcher service will do is it will take all this list of grid like G1, G2, G3, G4, G5, G6, G7, and it will send it to the distributed cache. It will basically query from the distributed cache that what all drivers are present in this particular or these particular grid. So it will get that value from the distributed cache, and then it will again query the map service. Now this time when it queries the map service, it will pass on the list of the driver that it got, and what it wants from the map service is the ETAs. So what Google Map service or this S2 library will also provide to the dispatcher services, it will give the ETA of each of the driver that I gave. So for suppose in these particular grid, suppose in G1 there was one driver, there was a driver D. So in G3 there was another driver D2, and there was a driver here D3. So for all these three driver, the Google Map service will give me the ETA. So for D1 how much time it will take for the driver D1 to reach the rider, how much time D2 will take, how much time D3 will take, all these details this Google Map service will give back to the dispatcher service. Now, once I have the ETA, I know which driver is closest to the rider, but I will not assign that driver directly. What I will do is I need to have some driver ranking service basically. So what this means that if I am a guy who books cab very regularly, it means I'm a loyal customer and I should be served with the best driver that is there. So this driver ranking service will basically go through all these three driver, and it will rank the driver based on how far it is or how quickly he can reach the rider, what was his rating, overall rating till now, and how he performed in the past. Based on all those things, this driver ranking service will send back some ranks to the dispatcher service, and based on those ranking a request will be sent to the driver. So now what can happen is, out of these three drivers, uh, the ranking was allocated like D2 will be rank 1, D3 will be rank 2, and D1 will be rank 3. So first few set of driver will get a booking request. If they accept that, then those guys will be basically, if the driver accept that, then that request will be sent to dispatcher service, and dispatcher will push that notification to the customer saying that this guy has accepted your request and he is coming to pick you up. If it declines, then maybe in that particular case, next request can be sent to a driver D3. So like that it can be mapped. So this is how the dispatcher service will work, and this is how it will bring together the customer with the driver. Now, the next thing from the driver's point of view is the location service that we discussed. So location service will also talk to the Google Maps service or the H2 library, and this will also be connected through a WebSocket. The driver will be connected to WebSocket through to the APIs that it is dealing with. Uh, Again, the reason is same, because the driver has to be pushed some notification, and driver will definitely send some he will send back his location. Sorry. So driver will keep on sending his location, and he will also send that okay, I have accepted the booking and all those things. So what the location service will do here is it will get the driver's location, it will go to the Google Maps service, and it will basically get the grid number from the Google Maps service. So it will say that okay, I am at location X. So what is the or location X means that driver will be sending his latitude and longitude basically to the location service. So this location service will request Google Map asking that what is the grid number for this latitude and longitude. So this will give us the latitude and longitude, and that will be persisted in the distributed cache here. So that is how the location service should work in my opinion. So that is how I came up with this particular picture, and if you see, it's like a step-by-step process that I followed. So I simply saw what are the features that are present here, then I just broke it to one level down into the APIs terminology, what all APIs can be there and what all service and database can be used. And next I came to the booking service, how the booking can be made. This is not how Uber works or Ola works, but this is just my design, how if I have to design a service, how it should work. So now what we need to do is we need to go one step down, and we need to come up with the complete system design of this particular application. So that will be the sneak peek that we had initially. So if you see here, we have a rider, we have a driver, there is a firewall, there are load balancer, bunch of APIs, RDBMS, dispatcher service, map service, analytics, Kafka, all those things. All the stuffs are there. Let's see how all these are connected, or how these things can be put together. So right and driver, it should pass through a web firewall. Now this is very important. Why? Because there can be some bots which are constantly sending requests as a rider, so we need to block all those things. There can be some bot which is showing the availability of the cab in some location where our application has still not been rolled out. Basically it is trying to show me a location in US, and my application is still rolled out in India only. So those kinds of stuffs needs to be blocked. So that is why we need a web firewall here. From the firewall you use a load balancer, because there will be multiple requests, and for high availability you need load balancer. Everyone of you will know why you will use a load balancer. Now from the load balancer there will be this bunch of APIs, and these APIs will be as per the request. So uh, as per the request, whether it is a driver or a rider, those can be the mapped from the load balancer. Basically there can be an API gateway also in between, and that guy will route the message to the correct API. So these distributed API will work as a microservice, and that will be connected to the database. So basically this is the part, this part. So you have a user API, you have a database, you have a driver API, and a database. So this is what this part is all about. Now from here you will talk to the dispatcher service. Dispatcher service will connect the rider to the driver. I hope it's pretty clear how the dispatcher service will work. One thing I did not put here was the dispatcher service, and all these APIs will keep on putting their logs into the Kafka. So there will be two things. One will be all the items that dispatcher service is processing, basically which rider was picked up from where, and there can be a hotspot kind of situation, like today in a particular area a lot of drivers were going there, a lot of cabs was booked there. So all those all those detail can be put into Kafka, and from there you can put some analytics engine on top of that for processing that what happened, or why there was such a hot block zone there, and what to do in future if we get a scenario like that in future. So for all those situation you will have a Kafka there, and this Kafka will also receive data from the user API, means the rider API, and the driver API also, so that we can put some analytics on how a driver is behaving or how a rider is behaving. Basically there can be a situation where a rider is constantly booking a cab and doing cancellation and all those kind of situation, or maybe a driver himself is trying to be a rider and booking a cab and accepting the request. So to handle all that kind of situation, these are like fraud scenarios. So to handle all those things you will keep on monitoring all those data, have some analytics engine on top of these kind of data, and work around with it. Next, your dispatcher service will definitely talk to the map service, and it will persist the data in NoSQL and RDBMS, and there will be a distributed cache also, like I showed in the previous slide, why you need distributed cache here. And on top of that there will be something, some more logging, basically not logging, more logging, basically there will be a queuing. So you can have a Kafka queue, not necessarily Kafka, you can also have some other queuing mechanism here. Why you need this is because it will be like a big application. There will be like hundreds of APIs that are working together. So you need to have a place where your logs can be aggregated. So if suppose something goes wrong in one of the API, you need to go and check what is wrong. So you need to go and check for the log. So here you will have some queue from where all the APIs will be writing the log into the queue, and from there it will be aggregated. So there will be a service, log aggregator service, which will work with this particular queue. So overall, this is how the cab booking system design will look like as per me. And if I have to put it into code also, it will be not that tough, because all these things will be like built-in software that will be there for me. I need to write code for these APIs. I need to write code for the dispatcher service. Now I know how all these things are decoupled with each other and how they can work in parallel. I know how I can scale all the microservice. You can use Basically, if you are using Java microservice, you can go with Netflix Service Discovery. Netflix Eureka client can be used for scaling up your microservice API. And yes, if you know about microservices, then you know you can implement a lot of features like circuit breaker and all those things in your application. And the similar thing will go for a dispatcher service. So again, dispatcher service will be a decoupled application, and it will also have a bunch of service which should be implemented to perform the operations like putting the message in the Kafka queue, connecting to the driver, connecting back to the rider, push notification should be sent to the rider, push notification should be sent to the driver as well. So all these details will be coded as part of the dispatcher service. So that is it for this particular video. This is how I came up with the design of a cab booking service. Do let me know in the comment section how you came up with a design for cab booking system, and if you have any doubt or any question regarding this particular video. So that is it for this video. See you in the next video. Take care. Bye.